systems go. Clear for liftoff. Whoa, lost my guy Hoopster on the intro, but what's up everyone? Tyler Tamboline here, aka ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the PGA show here on the SHIPIT Nation YouTube station. Do have my guy Hoopster here with me as always. He's a little in and out there. Action, you guys know how his bladder is, but we got him back. We got the Scottish Open, going to break down all things as usual. I will note off the top before I bring Hoopster in, Sabersim is working on a pretty big update to the optimizer, so we'll go a little bit of a different style today, but we're still going to be talking through it as always, the process. Not just the picks and plays, but going through the, Scotty Scheffler, Yahtzee Scheffler might be back this week. We'll break it all down and more. Hoopster, you're here. You got it. You're off mute. What's going on?
Back in action. Yeah, it was a quick technical difficulty. We're good to go here out of the gates. Barely beat the buzzer. It was not a urination this time, surprisingly. It was a technical difficulty. So yeah, and as you mentioned, Sabersim, they're doing a pretty big update today. So we're gonna go back to kind of just talking through the slate. We'll talk strategy, roster construction, that sort of thing, and it's fun. I mean, I like these events that are over there. The 6-hour time difference. If you're on the East Coast, you wake up, half the round's already done. If you have a sweat on the weekends, your guys are typically kind of just teeing off as you're waking up, assuming you get up kind of early. So it's a little bit different style of golf, and we have some top names playing this week, and then a lot of almost all the top names playing next week. So it's a fun 2-week stretch. Looking forward to talking through it here.
Yeah, this one we get the top of the board, right? We get Scotty, Rory, Xander. The known crusher Tommy Fleetwood is in the field as well, but it's a good one. And like you said, there's interesting note. Just the weather seems a little bit down this week. Like usually you get some crazy stuff. It looks like a little bit of wind on Thursday, but nothing major. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right now, again, can change on a dime, especially over there. But, really there's nothing, like 5 to 6 miles per hour at most, nothing in the forecast at all. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out and if that has any effect on it for how people play or what they build like. But Scotty Scheffler back at 13.1K, Rory in the 11K range. It's the only guy at the 11K price point. And then Xander down to 10-1 now. After that, they put a few guys, 7 guys in the 9K range, 10 to 12 in the 8s, and then a ton in the 7s. So I think we are going to have, a few conversations around that. I see right out of the gate, our guy 8 game. Listen, we're going to talk about this quick. We'll get the marketing out of the way fast. Next week will be a big week with the Open, with everything else that we've got coming. We've talked about some big news. Our biggest news will not be out next week still, but we will have some big news next week. There'll be a lot of good promotions and stuff. So if you want to get in right now, we are always honest with you. We don't want to spend money. You don't have to. I wouldn't go further than this. This is $24. It gets you a full month. You'll get in the Discord. You'll get everything for $24. It's less than $1 a day. All of the sports in the Discord, education courses, getting ready, etc. But the big deals will be next week. And we're the type of site, like we'll tell people to cancel and get this deal instead. Whatever can save you the most money and make it, like we stand by, the most affordable and the most valuable content in the entire space. That's what we'll talk about more next week. But Hoop, I don't know if you have anything else marketing wise you want to add, but there's a lot going on, a lot coming down the pipeline here.
Yeah, big things on the horizon. I mean, we don't obviously bullshit about that every single time. We've said we're working on something big. It's been big, and this is going to be big. If you are looking to get in though now, yeah, definitely take advantage of the $24 all access. You're not going to miss out on anything if you do that. So you get in the door with that, then you're going to have access to all the big stuff that we'll be announcing within the next couple of weeks, and very excited. I mean, crazy to think. I mean, football less than 60 days away, man. Like NFL less than 60 days away. It's the big thing, obviously, in this industry. We're here to talk PGA. We're going to have PGA for the rest of PGA season, but exciting NFL right around the corner.
Yeah, and I think that's if you want to circle a calendar on your date, Hoop and I haven't fully locked in on it. I sent him like a preview of this thing. He thought it was pretty cool, the little imagery we got for it. But August 6th is what we're targeting. It's exactly 30 days to the NFL season. That's for the big news. The next week, there'll just be some promotional stuff and things that, if you're getting in, you'll want to get in early as possible. So I think that'll do it, Hoop. I'm not going to get to too much more marketing. Like you said, if you want to get in, it's very simple. You use PGA 75, you get $75 off. It's the $99 plan. It includes Sabersim. So less than $100, you get Sabersim Optimizer. You get all the stuff that we offer, all sports, etc. PGA 75 gets you. It's the $99 plan for $24 for your first month. All right. Scotland, Scottish Open, some big stuff going on this week. Shout out to all our members over at SHIPIT Nation that moved on in the Fantasy Golf World Championship. They got a round 2 sweat to get through, and I think it's a good place for it, Hoop. I like events like this. You can typically have quite a bit of variance, right, in these ones, and, it's hard to decipher what's actually best because, yes, Scotty works, and it's easy to fit Scotty in. There is a ton of guys in the 7K and up range. They're at 7K flat. There's more guys at 7K flat than there is in the 9K range, just at that one price tag. So to give you an idea, building with Scotty this week, I don't even think we need Sabersim to tell you this one, Hoop. It's going to get there. It's going to be Scotty with 5 guys in the 7s, and you'll still be able to get different because there's so many options. But what are you seeing? What's your first thoughts heading into this one? The old patented grand scheme overview, if you will.
Yeah, it's going to be the same thing. We've had this sort of scenario quite a bit lately, I feel, with Scotty Scheffler priced way up there, but then you get down to the 6K range and there's not a ton that people are going to like, so they're going to want to kind of stop in the 7K range where they see names they recognize. Like you go down to the low 7s, and I'm not saying these guys are good plays, but they're the recognizable names like Seabass, Gerard, Cawley, Smalley, Novak, Goddard, Yu, Hodges, Denny McCarthy, 7,200.
Yeah, man. The world. 9,900 last week, and boom, right back down.
Why is he 7,200? Is he bad on these link things or something?
This is what happens with this pricing. You said it. There's no 5K range to force it, but it's just the way they've filled it up. Yeah. He played here last year and missed the cut. That's about it. Yeah, but odds wise, etc., it's just different setup.
But like Sam Stevens, Daniel Berger, Højgaard, Benny On, Nick Taylor, and then you get into the 6K range and the names kind of fall off a cliff. I mean, you'll find some guys that you like down there that you can play, but there's a huge difference in name recognition. And that, honestly, it drives ownership. When people recognize a name, they're more likely to click it than a name they don't recognize. And the name recognition falls off a cliff after the 7Ks. Now, there are some guys like right at the upper 6s, like Woodland and Mackenzie Hughes and, Taylor Moore. So there are some guys at Putnam.
They count the same, though. You and I have talked about
it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same thing.
They just can't put another 10 guys at 7K. So they're the same thing.
So it's going to be those sort of builds for sure. And then, like, if you don't play Scotty and you go down to Rory, it's going to be a lot of 7K guys, and then maybe you get in some 8K guys. And that's just kind of how roster construction is going to go. There's not a huge opportunity to play a middling build, really. I mean, people aren't going to go into that range, and it's one of those weeks where, everyone always asks, can you play balance? Yeah, you can play balance if you want. I just right out of the gate here, I have not built any teams. Like, I just don't really see a strong case to go mid-tier. Like Sepp Straka, 8,700, Adam Scott, 86, Ryan Fox, 85. And I know you love the 2v2s, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's like you go Sepp Straka and Adam Scott, or let me see, Scotty Scheffler and I don't know, 6K or upper 6 or 7K guys, probably pretty darn close in salary. People are just going to want to go to the Scotty Scheffler and the 7K guy. So, that's kind of how roster construction's going to go. Scotty and a bunch of 7K guys are going to be very, very popular. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's like Scotty and a 7K guy is 20,100, or you can play Fleetwood at 9,900 with Bobby Mack, for example. They're 20K for the two of them. So it's like, do you want those 9K guys? Fleetwood and Bobby Mack, or do you want Scotty? Let's throw that one in. We do this early and often all the time. So it's Scotty, and we'll just say a flat 7K guy and just give you the extra $100. You can find it elsewhere, but it's Scotty and 7K versus Fleetwood and Bobby Mack. And let's see what let's let the chat decide. And Ryan, I know Kenny picked up on it. I didn't want to give Ryan the credit this time right out of the gate, but I thought he was actually saying it one time, but not even once. He says he is, but he can't come through. It's got to be about his boy EVR, but with Bridgman, people like Laurie Cantor, Mackenzie Hughes always gets mentioned, things like that. There's enough guys popping, especially in projections values around the industry, that it's not just EVR there. But yeah, I'm curious to get your side. If you're in the chat right now, post it in live. And if you're watching this on playback or replay, whatever you want to call it later on, let us know in the comments. Would you take Scotty and a flat 7K guy, we're giving you the extra, little $100 you need. Would you take Scotty? Or you can even put Scotty and EVR, because Scotty and EVR is the exact same price. Scotty and EVR versus Fleetwood and Bobby Mack. I'm very curious to see where people land on this one, because that's kind of the setup there, Hoop. You're still going to be able to land in the 7s after you start with Fleetwood and Bobby. Fleetwood Mac, if you will. Yeah,
and those are probably two of the more, I don't know, not necessarily popular, but people are going to like Bobby Mack, and I think people are going to be fine with Fleetwood. So it could be close what people decide there, but it is another week, though, where you see Scotty at 13-1 and, over 13K, and it's not hard to plan. There's going to be a lot of guys. I mean, you put them in, you still got 7,400 per spot. If you do, go this route and you plug in a 7K guy, you're right back to the mid 7s, and there's legit dudes there that we've already talked about, and there's more. And then if you do find someone in the 6K range, you can probably start to creep back into the 8K range a little bit. So there's a lot of flexibility, despite Scotty being 13K. I think this event is classified. It's at least like a hybrid, isn't it? This counts as a Euro Tour / mixture. Yeah. So if he wins this, does it count as a PGA Tour win? That's where the experts need to come in. Not something I require to do well at DFS. So it's not my. They said it's a co-hosted event. So it's like a co-event. So would it be a technicality? Would there be an asterisk? Is the question for those out there in the chat. But so let me ask you this then. Let's flip it, because clearly you can get to that so easily. Like Scotty. And I'll go further on that conversation in a second, but right now ownership, is really early on, but it's kind of really spread out in the 7s, and it probably will be, because there's only so many guys that you can cling to in the higher stakes and that fantasy golf world championship. Eventually there will be guys that pull through as quote unquote the guys, and that'll be the ones that pull. But if you're not going Scotty, like if you do go Scotty, it's not very easy to go like Scotty, not very easy, I should say, to go Scotty and a couple 8K guys, for example. But if you go Rory and get those savings at 11-4, or Xander or Fleetwood, you can really start to stack up the top portion of that. So who are the 7 guys that stand out in those Scotty builds for you right now, if you just scan the 7s quickly? Because it looks like some of these guys will get some steam by the end of the week, but I'm just not sure who they'll be, because there's a lot of Euro Tour guys as well, DP World Tour. I just think this is going to be the range where a lot of people go. I mean, it's one of those scenarios where you look at the 7s versus the 8s, and you just don't see much of a difference. Like, why is Adam Scott $8,600? And he's been a 7K guy. I get he's been playing better recently, but people are going to say, man, I can just save the money. A lot of guys, to me, right out of the gate, look good in the 7s, like Pendrith, Højgaard, Grazerman, Sung J M 77. Neargard Peterson has had some good finishes. 12th at the U.S. Open, 14th at the BMW World Tour event. The other Højgaard at 75. Daniel Berger, who has fallen off a little bit, but 46 at the U.S. Open, and I think Travelers was a no cut. He finished 42nd, and people be fine there. Sam Stevens has been playing really well. People like playing Justin Rose when it's over on this side of the pond, despite him playing terrible recently. Tristan Lawrence, Mayo's guy, continues to kind of make cuts. I mean, it wasn't great last week, but 44th. Pockgeiter, assuming nothing's wrong with him after the withdrawal. Jake Knapp, McCarthy, Michael Kim, Hodges, I mean, I'd be open to playing a lot of these guys. Like, I mean, that's just my first read at it. I don't have like a strong lean on, okay, this is the guy, but I'm open to play a lot. I just think there's a massive difference between the 6Ks and the 7Ks. And again, I will play some of these 6K guys. I mean, I definitely will, but the drop off from 7 down to 6, I think, is massive. Honestly, I mean, there's the clear cut on that. 6,900 is like where it cuts. So 68 maybe if you want to give a couple guys credit there, but after that, there's almost nobody. It's not like last week where we had a couple options that you could like make a case for. There's not really. Like, people will have their guys because they play on DP World Tour, they follow them, or their value plays or whatever, but you just don't need them. But I will say, to your point there, and just for others that think this out there, I think it's important, is if your reason to fade Scotty is because of ownership, I just don't think it matters, because there's just so many guys, there's so many options and ways you can play him that won't be your problem. Either Scotty does or Scotty doesn't. That seems pretty obvious. It's a 50-50 shot there, but I'm just saying it's really comes down to that, because there's so many guys that you can pile in with him, and don't just fade him for ownership, because you can get tons of guys. You can get 4 guys, 5 guys under 5% with him that are good guys in this field. It's just that you can't play everyone, and other people won't be able to. So I think that's a good call.
Real quick, I like this one from Ryan for Fleetwood. If Scotty's there, no asterisks. Yeah, kind of believe that. If you got Scotty, Rory, Xander, you name it, all in a field like this, pumping up for a major, got to give him credit. So we'll count that one. They're talking about the big news earlier. Yeah, Tambo HQ. Everyone, I appreciate sharing the updates. We're not making that to do less content. I can promise you that. We got some big things coming here at SHIPIT Nation. We're going to be busy in the lab making some more content. And I got one more for you, Hoop. We haven't done this game in a while. Full name pronunciation. Give it to us one time.
Oh man, now we're going back to what's it called? The Live Tour stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Scotty and Eugenio Lopez Chicara.
Yeah, pretty good.
Right?
Yeah,
That's gotta be pretty close.
Sometimes you hear them say like a weird one, like Eugenio.
Yeah,
the GJ situation there, but that was really good. That's you're good. You've been practicing or something because that's good there. And anyone doesn't know his story, it's actually speaking of the live thing. Pretty funny is not only are we going back to the live stuff for pronunciations that we had to do on shows back when, but he was a live member that broke.
That dude was.
Yes, he was, and he won on live, and then he broke free from live. And went out, and I believe he just won recently on I don't know what event it was. I'd have to look it up, but it was an event overseas, and pretty sure he got the job done over there. So he's pretty solid, man. And that's
on a side note here. I mean, I've been a little distracted because I've been working hard to get the Sabersim up and running. I do have a Saber build. The customer service at Saber is absolutely phenomenal. They got me lined up back to classic mode so we can go through and look at some teams if you want.
Yeah, if you got it, let's share it. Let's get the first dry run while you pull that up. I'll go through that. And Ryan said while mowing the lawn, Hoop has his live pronunciations Duolingo going to practice.
Yeah, I got the Rosetta Stone lined up on there to give me the proper pronunciation of these dudes in different languages.
Yeah, we don't call it the stone for no reason over here, guys. That's what it is. Hoopster's got it going. And Kenny says he's used to Oklahomans pronouncing his name wrong, so I don't think he'd take offense to however it's said. Probably true.
Yes, agree. All right, yeah, I got this up, so we can talk through it and see what we can find here. Let's see. Boom, boom, man, and just a lot of issues here. We got the StreamYard didn't update as well. I mean, man,
where's your share though? You got to find the.
It's coming up. Yeah, I know, man. You know me.
Loading.
All right, we're up and running. So, got 150 teams. We have it sorted by Saber score right now. So I'm going to change that to projected and just kind of see. I do want to pull up the project. So Scotty's at 105, Rory's at 92, Tommy's 81. I think this sort of spread makes sense when looking at these guys. You know, Scotty projected 12 points higher than Rory. I guess Xander's down here like 15 points lower than Rory, and Fleetwood's 11 fantasy points lower. All right, let's see.
Well, that exposure over,
Yeah, I know. I usually have it pre, but you know, we got the issues rolling today. So
Scotty, 1% Scotty.
Interesting.
This is funny because you and I were on this track. We were about to go there. That's what I was literally asking you about was, okay, we know what the Scotty situation is, but I wonder how Rory goes out because with Rory being so much cheaper, it gives you access to the same pool of 7K guys, but then a bunch of other guys as well that you're not going to see as many people be able to get to if they just go Scotty. So this kind of proves that, right? It's showing us the Rory lineups. And
you can see why. And you can see why right out of the gate. So I pulled up all the Rory teams, and it really wants a 9K guy in there. It wants either McIntyre or you'll see Fleetwood. So we got McIntyre. And these teams aren't possible with Scotty unless you dip into the 6K range. So Rory Fleetwood, Rory Mac, Rory Mac, Rory Mac, Rory Mac. We're getting McIntyre on 33% of these teams, and these are the favorites. It's him, Rory, and a 9K. These teams are not possible with Scotty builds. So that's why we're seeing this. And this is projected score. We can change it as we go on, but interesting for sure.
Yeah. So one thing for for everybody wondering, how did you switch it over to classic mode would be a good quick fix. Do you have the button?
So you got it. It's right here. So this is the new big update they did. The used lineup groups on new build. You have to unclick this and then do a new build. So
perfect.
If you're having trouble with the new, and we're gonna have video, like you said, to kind of walk everyone
I forgot to mention it, so I'm going to hit it now real quick. Thank you. That's what I was going to go to. So just so every SHIPIT Nation member knows, and that's obviously a benefit of coming over to SHIPIT Nation, no matter where you get your stuff from. If you're using this, you can come over to SHIPIT Nation. We do a ton of different content behind the scenes. We will have a video. Jordan from Sabersim is going to hop on. It's going to be for all members over at SHIPIT Nation, where you're going to be able to see the new update, how it works to your advantage, why you'd want it, how it's going to work for you, for your portfolio, etc. So that'll be sometime this week, probably Thursday or Friday, but I'm going to hop on with them. I'll host. It's going to be open to all members to be able to hop on live. We'll record it and have it for playback as well. So that'll be we don't do a ton of members only video, but with the Sabersim partnership and everything we've got going on with that, we have a lot of new items coming out. For those that don't know, our guy Sheets, MB Habes on DraftKings and crushes on FanDuel as well, a top player in the world. He is now doing some Sabersim premium videos for us. So if you're a member over at SHIPIT Nation and you're using Sabersim, if you're not at SHIPIT Nation yet and you're using Sabersim, come on over. You'll get those included as well. Breaking it down, showing how he uses it to his advantage to win plenty of cash with Sabersim. So love to see that. And shout out to our guy Sheets. What else? What else I was going to say if you go to SaberScore? It's looking like
so I switched by SaberScore, and then the big difference you see right here. Scotty, now we're getting 30% of our teams. Rory 25, and it spreads it out a little bit more. Robert McIntyre still getting in there, Fleetwood, and then you start to see. So I want to see what these Scotty teams look like. So Scotty, Adam Scott, 4 7K guys. So a lot of 7Ks. Scotty, 5 7Ks. Scotty sneaks in Corey Connors, 4 7Ks. I know, Hughes is 6,900. That counts as 7K.
Too many Canadians in that lineup.
Yeah, there's a lot. Boom, boom.
Yeah, two of them. We got to get that gone.
Scotty 7Ks, Scotty all 7Ks, Scotty all 7Ks, all 7Ks. Aaron Riot 83 mixes in McCarty here. So I mean, basically, you're still very similar sort of teams. So you're seeing these Scotty teams are going to look very similar. You don't see Scotty with Fleetwood or Bobby Mack, which we were seeing before. Are they on any of these teams? I don't see them popping up. Let's see, Fleetwood. Nope, he's not on any. McIntyre isn't on. It's going to be tough. So that's the big difference this week. Like if you want exposure to that 9K range, you got to kind of get off Scotty a little bit. That's just how it. I mean, what is the price? What is the difference again between Scotty and Rory? The price difference. It is 1,700. So you're getting you're getting a 9K guy instead of an upper 7K guy, and that's going to be the difference in those teams. And all those teams are going to look very similar. But again, the one nice thing though, regardless of which route you go, is there's so many, in my eyes, so many 7K playable guys that you're going to be able to get a little bit different within that 7K range.
That's exactly it. And that's why we love Sabersim. That's what the SaberScore shows. If you've got a SHIPIT Nation membership, that's why the Stone, I went on a rant about this in our Discord last week, but the power of the Stone is it's like playing chess, right? But that's your game. You have everything. It's the game board. It's the pieces. It's everything. It's all your pawn. Like it's all right there. You can then apply that stuff over, even if you're only doing 1 build, 3 builds, whatever it might be. The concept is Scotty is not your issue this week. He's coming with ownership. He's very playable. Same with Rory. He's going to come with ownership. And whatever your ownership shows right now, it's going to go up on Rory because it's going to be closer than you think if other sites are showing like Scotty more than Rory, because we just saw it. Like when you go by projections, it's going to want to fit Rory in. But the point is there's so many guys that you can get different with them that it doesn't matter about that. It's going to be, you're going to know it's whether they come through or not. Of course, that's what's going to end up mattering. So make your choice that way, but don't be afraid of them because of ownership, because you got 5 other spots still to fill and plenty of options you can fill them with. Now, when you click the plus sign on Rory for a second, this is why we do this. Now under the SaberScore, how many Bobby Macks are we getting?
So the difference is obviously going to be, it's going to be looking for some lower owned partners with Rory, because we have Rory at like 35%, I think. So it's not going to want to pair him with the high owned guys in the 9K range. So you're starting to see other dudes. So you get a Rory Adam Scott, Rory Justin Thomas, Rory Matt Fitzpatrick, Ludwig. So it's trying to, and this has a Fleetwood in there.
But then
Bobby Mack in there.
Owned, right? If you go back up to the Fleetwood one for a second.
Yeah, besides Wallace isn't going to be 20%, but yeah. I don't think he will. So yeah, you just see it makes things a little bit different. You are still getting Bobby Mack in there quite a bit, but it's no. That's that's the pool. So yeah, you're getting 28 him, Hao Tong Lee showing up a lot, Brian Gerard showing up a lot in these teams, Smalley and Cauley kind of rhyme, or it does rhyme actually.
Might be the combo you need.
That might be it right there. 7K flat for both of them. The Smalley Cauley, 7K Shiparuski.
Put in Matt Wally.
Yeah, get Wally in there, be all set. So the team just a little bit different here with SaberScore, and then again, as always, you run the contest sims, and it's probably going to look a little bit to me. Maybe we'll do it today. Actually, put
in Tong Lee.
Tong Lee, you got all the Lees.
You get everybody in there, man. Lots of options. You did have way less Fleetwood though. Fleetwood in those lineups, there were 6 lineups of the 38 with Fleetwood. We had projected score earlier. Fleetwood was in a bunch. Mac went down to Bobby Mac, that is, with Rory, went down from something like 18 or 22 or something down to 11. So 28 or something down to 11. So it just goes to show, it's going to spread it out a little bit more. But then even when it pairs you with one of those guys, it's going to flip the switch on the other 4. So SaberScore with Sabersim just naturally puts you in a different position. But if you really want to be able to put it all together, I still like to be able to have the stone where I can say, okay, there's a reason I like these lower owned options. What do those look like? And that's why I always talk about virtual hand building. I want Sabersim up. I want the stone up. And then I want to see, okay, if I'm picking lineups out or favoriting them, what goes with my concept? Is it all PMAM guys? If I'm doing something like that, is it all guys that fit? I've got a couple leverage guys with some upside options because we need that, or whatever I'm looking for. I think that's kind of the key, being able to put it all together. So I like that angle as well. What are you going to next here?
Oh, I didn't run it, but I'll run contest sims, and we can just kind of get a little bit of a look and see. I have the Lotto contest in there.
Shout out to our guy Jordan. He's back, rocking the beater.
Oh, was there those Canadian dudes?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
That was a good one, man. Like that video was so class, because the video, you don't see the other side. You just see the dude on the tee box, and he looked like he was in pretty good shape. I was like, dude, he's about to fuck these dudes up on the other side of this video. And oh my gosh, I mean, to charge at someone to get launched into a lake to start a fight, just pack up at that point. Like, don't go for a little swim, hop back in your golf cart and get out. Like, don't come back for more after that, right? It's over.
He came back and he got ultra tossed. Someone got there before I could, but if you just freeze frame it, he's a bigger dude. I don't know if he was fully in shape, but he was definitely a bigger dude.
Big. He looked like he was in shape.
Dude literally lifted him and just flicked him. Like, it looked like he flicked him, and he went like Matrix through the air.
That was incredible. It's like the movie scenes, like when they're tossing someone out the front door. Oh, you didn't get invited to this party. Get your ass out of here. You pick them up and just launch them. That's the movie stuff. That dude literally got tossed on a golf course, like in midair. Dude, once you get tossed in the lake, game over.
Back it up, like you said.
Just get in your golf cart and drive away. Just drive to the parking lot, put your clubs in the back, and move the hell on. To continue to come back. That was the big mistake there for sure, but incredible video. Incredible.
When you get tossed in the lake, time to take a break, move on. You got to get going, pal. Like, there's no sense sticking around after that. You're just getting embarrassed more. And
it's definitely the booze for sure. I mean, it's definitely the booze. Like, man,
he was going crazy too. It's like he went nuts on this guy, and it was like, just chill for 5 seconds. Like,
that is the best part about the video, because you watch that scene and like, dude, this guy's probably going to kick somebody's ass. Like, I feel bad whoever is on the other side of this dude yelling. He seems crazy. He's at least in pretty decent shape. Wow, that took a turn for the opposite direction. Just incredible. The chat got
all the stories on it. But by the way, contest sims run a lot faster than telling a golf story. But I thought that was a good one. So shout out to Jordan for giving us the entertainment for the day. It's an edutainment show. We like to educate and entertain. So I'm glad we got to talk about that one. What do you have it sorted by here now? So you went to the Sims. What contest are you in? Are you
just the Lotto, the $25, the big contest. So you do see things get spread out a little bit more here. Have it sorted by exposure: 28, Fleetwood, Rory 26, Scotty 22. Start to see Morikawa creep up. Tommy Fleetwood's in there. Just really spreads things out quite a bit.
Let me just comment on two things while you have it on this exact screen, because I think this is important for people. And again, you can do what you want with it. That's the value of a tool. You can push it around. Again, like I say, if you got the stone, you can mix and match it. But I think one thing, Hoop, a lot of people ask me about is about like, oh, the player pool size. You're mentioning it, and it's true. It spread us out on a lot of these guys. It does spread it out. It allows you to fit more of these pieces in. But the bigger thing to me always is the roster construction. If you went through everything Hoop and I talked about, and we've been into this for 30 minutes now. I know there's a 5-minute golf story, but let's say 25 real minutes talking golf and ownership and all this other stuff and roster construction. There was not a single build I remember that A, started with Xander, and B, had a 6K guy, any lineup, to be honest, that had only 2 7K guys. And now look at this very first lineup that pops up. Shout out to our boy Ryan. We got EVR in it. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
It could be a 7K guy, but you've got Xander instead of Rory and Scotty. Then you've got, scroll up to the top. You've got Morikawa in the 9K. You got Fox in the 8K. And then you've got Brian Harman, Bez, EVR. That's not a bad lineup on paper. That could very easily come
can't see the full number, but it's 42% total ownership. 42. And the reason that's important, like if Xander and Morikawa are the two that are in contention on Sunday, there's not going to be as many teams out there that have that pairing and have a huge leg up on the competition. You come down here, the second team, 56% ownership. So it's a high variance sport, and low owned lineups can do a lot of damage. You're just competing with less teams come Sunday.
And it's why I always talk about the power of an optimizer. Everyone gets so honed in on the fact that they're only for 150 maxers. It's like a necessity for 150 maxers. Yeah, it makes your life way easier. It gives you what you need. It helps build up the portfolio. There's a million reasons why that is true. But when you're looking at it, like a lot of people just hand building or putting it out there, they don't come anywhere near that build to even consider it. Maybe right now you look at it and you still wouldn't consider it, but you wouldn't probably know about it if you don't investigate and run these tools to be able to see this stuff. And that's why, and you've done this, trust me, I'm already reading your mind out there. You've definitely sat in a contest that you're not doing well in, scrolled to the top. We've all been there, myself included. Click on whatever, insert pro name here at the top, and you're like, oh, geez, how the hell did they land on this? And then you look at it, and it's like, actually, that's a pretty good lineup. I don't know why I thought of this. I thought of that. I didn't think of all of it together. That's an example, right? Like you can clearly see it get there. There's still guys that make sense. There's no real bad names, good projection, ownership's light, the construction's different. That's how you find a leg up, especially in these tournaments. And obviously this is for the lottery, so you don't have to get that aggressive in something like $100 single entry or a $5 3 max or whatever fits your bankroll. But that's a prime example of why we like to look at these things. And that's where some of the confusion is when people are like, well, the player pool is so big. Change it. Make it smaller. You could take your own player pool and then let it give you the best lineups off of that. You just may be leaving out some of the lineups it would recommend based on the other part. So, a lot of good things when it comes down to it. But I like looking at it from that perspective. Is there anything else there? Like right now, how many 6K guys, if any, are we actually getting real ownership of?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to go to, because that's important this week for roster construction. So, I just want to see if we're getting anything substantial. So nothing substantial. So let's sort by salary, and we'll be able to see. Come down here, we get 5% of Bridgman, who I do like Bridgman as a play. I mean, I think he's fine. Ferguson, EVR, Woodland, we're getting 3. Cantor, we're getting 3. Taylor Moore, we're getting 8. 2. So there's like a couple guys that are getting 5% or more, and then nothing else. I mean, that's just what's going to happen this week. That's how it is going to play out. That's how roster construction is going to look. And we've showed it in multiple different ways. When you do it by projected score, it's a lot of Rory and 9K guys. That's what a basic optimizer is going to want to do this week. Take the price break from Scotty down to Rory, and then get in another 9K guy. If you use the projections, these are Sabres projections. It's going to be a lot of Rory Fleetwood, a lot of Rory, Bobby Mack, and that's just strictly by projected score. That's what optimizers are going to want to do this week, and it makes sense. It does make sense because I think those guys are in pretty good spots. Bobby Mack, and then you're getting an upgrade from guys in this range, the 7,900 guys, the low 8K guys. You're able to upgrade to these dudes up here, Fleetwood, Bobby Mack, and then, even if you like some of the other ones, Thomas, Hovland, whatever it may be, you just can't get those teams. You can, but it would be, you'd have to go in the 6K range if you went Scotty and Fleetwood, you're down to 6,700. So you're playing probably a couple 6K guys to get back into the 7K range. So that's why, roster construction is going to look that way this week.
And this is another key point. And then I want to, after this, we'll just discuss the 9s and the 8s a little bit, take questions, go through that, because I just want to talk about these dead zones and pockets there. Basically, same thing backwards, but real quickly on that is like the 68 and 6,900, the Taylor Moore, the EVR, the Jacob Bridgman. Those are the guys we talked about earlier. Those are 7K plays. They just happen to say 69 or 6,800. But every version we built, contest sims, Saber score, projections, whatever, none of them are using 6K guys. So this is key to remember as well. And I've learned this the hard way, as I've learned many things the hard way in my time playing DFS, is this is what I try and harp on and explain to people. Everyone has their like diamond in the rough guy down low. This proves why you don't need it. First of all, none of these builds require it. That doesn't mean that they can't happen. That's just saying they don't require it. If everyone, no matter how you think they're building, by hand, by projection, by Saber score, by contest sims, whatever you think they're using, and that's at all optimizers on every site, every projection set, whatever. If they're not using it, it's a reason why, it's an added piece to why you don't need to use it either. Because even if you get it right, you're probably not going to commit enough lineups to it. And so then even if you have 5, 10 lineups that you went with it, you only have so many outs of finding the right other 5 or 4 guys, whatever it ends up being. If you hit on 2 of them or 1 of them, 4 or 5 guys left over that you need to hit on. And again, that's what we always talk about. It's like when people keep going on about this, man, if the optimal keeps showing up at 40,000 every week, what are you going to do? You're going to go build 40K lineups in your optimizer and just pray you hit the nuts? Look at the optimals. You're never getting to those. You don't have to worry about that. You have to worry about what everybody else is doing and how you beat them. Making the best lineup is the right way, but getting to the optimal in golf is just silly, right? They're just people throwing it out there to give you a heads up that that's what it was. There's tons of different ways you can build. We showed 3 different ways already. Not one of them required anyone less than 6,800 for the most part. Go ahead.
And and even on those weeks where the optimal comes out, is that like, that's not winning GPPs. Like no one's playing those sort of teams. It's not like that's the winning team in these contests. It's just like that would be the op. So like, yeah, you can't build that way. You can't build to unless there's a ton of guys you like, and maybe certain events it's just super random. But especially at an event like this with like the high end guys, like it just makes no sense to even get that in your head.
Yeah, and this is like I know Kenny's just jabbing, but it's like too much credit. Yeah, but most people don't think at all. But same thing like he's talking about for some of the big dogs, just hit optimize and import in round 2. Yeah, we have a full course at ShipItNation.com. Hoop myself recorded for PGA. There's a whole segment on this. I coined the term and trademarked it, by the way, heverage. In round 2, I want to play heavy leverage because a lot of people just go with what worked in round 1. The optimal ended up crushing, by the way, like for the most part, versions of the optimal, even those Ben Griffin lineups still cleanly got there with 3 of 6s, 4 of 6s, etc., because a lot of the other stuff hit. But week 2 is not a 50-50. 33% moves on. Those optimals will really be hovering in a lot of cases around that top 50 lineup and spot and more. So I kind of want to be in or out in week 2. And I think the leverage way is the way to go, especially if you have multiple entries, at least get one lineup out there that has it. But a lot of people will just click that button. I'm talking more to the newer players or the people that are coming on, just getting into golf or, learning strategies and stuff. A lot of people want to go with their picks and their guy down low. I heard good things about, I don't know who's down here. Whoever, Richie Ramsey over on the DP World Tour or Matt Fitzpatrick's brother, Alex Fitzpatrick. I need to play that guy. They never commit enough. They don't play enough. They don't do anything with that for MME stuff. So they end up wondering why it didn't work out and just another min cash or a missed cash, if you will. And either of those options. And the setup is because they're overthinking on, if I get the diamond in the rough right, I win. That's just not how it works. Even if you get it right, there's no guarantee that's going to happen. So yeah, this was the other thing, like a lot of 3 of 6 surviving, but even those Ben Griffin lineups had, I don't know, outside of Putnam and Smalley and Kim and Gerard, that was kind of the 4 pieces that busted, but everybody else, the Hubbards, the Hodges, all those guys, the Hughes, all the other chalk pieces found their way to the top. So yeah, I think that's the way it goes. This week will be interesting though, because the Scotty effect, the Rory effect, it looks like Rory will be the guy that people start with and are able to fit it in. Yeah, Griot was 35% in that. There was a bunch of lineups. I showcased it in our Discord, but Hoop, anything else on guys at the bottom? If not, I think we'll end this out talking about the pockets, because it looks to me like 9K will have some spread ownership. 8K will have some really low owned guys because it's just really hard to get to the 8K. So let's talk about that. And then I also think there's something to be said for that upper 7K range, like Dietrich and Grazerman and those that maybe Grazerman and Hogard get a little bit. Pendra, I don't know who it'll be, but I'm just saying right now, it looks like more people will have to land in that bottom 7K range to get those Scotty lineups to work, or even in those Rory builds we saw that used one of Fleetwood or Mac, it skips the 8Ks, it lands in the 7. So is there any thought process around that? And you can start in the 9s if you want, just what you could go to there.
Yeah, I mean, based on what we're seeing here and with those teams we built, Tommy Fleetwood, Robert Mack, I do believe are the two that people go to. It's showing right now 25% for Fleetwood, 30% for Bobby Mack, and Morikawa is getting a little, but like this range here, like Ludwig and Ludwig, I think, and JT and Sam Burns have a chance to go a little overlooked. The Morikawa stuff, I don't know. It's still tricky for me. I mean, he did finish 8th at the Rocket Mortgage, super weak field event. But man, just really have not needed him this year. Ludwig has not been good. JT played well last time out, but has not played well at this course. But Sam Burns is a guy I think that is interesting. 9K flat, been playing well. He is a streaky guy. He's been top 20 in I don't know, like 7 out of 8 events, maybe 8 out of 9. He's like a run hot, run cold sort of guy. He's running hot right now. So I do kind of like him. I do kind of like Victor, and I do like Fleetwood and Bobby Mack as well. The 8K range is somewhat interesting because you look at it, I think a lot of these guys could easily be in the 7s, but they're in the 8 range. It's just this range to me has to get forgotten, and ownership is kind of saying that. I mean, Corey Connors, 7%. Matt Fitzpatrick, 9. I think he ends up getting a little bit more. He's playing better. Straka, 5. Like, no one in this range is above 10%. I do like Fitz. I think Harry Hall's fine. JJ Spawn's fine. But like Wyndham Clark, why is Wyndham Clark in the 8K? And he's going to get no ownership, so maybe a big leverage op play there. So I don't know. I don't necessarily love this range, but everyone is pretty low owned. We already talked about the 7s. I do agree with you. Some of these guys at the top do have a chance to get squeezed, but there's just a lot of guys here in the 7K range, and I plan on playing a lot of them.
Yeah, it's really the top of the range. Like you mentioned, if you like Taylor Pendrith, if you like Dietrich, if you like Sung J M, who, it's probably time to just, pack that in, to be honest. But he did finish 4th here last year, so maybe that's a sign. But I don't know. It's been so bad. The main thing I was thinking up top is it looks like Morikawa, Justin Thomas, and maybe even Sam Burns go a little bit overlooked because, well, Burns would make sense and everything you said about him is good. I think when people are already on Bobby Mack, and then when people get to the 8K range currently, and I see it on paper as well, it looks like Fitzpatrick, Scott, and Fox. And Fox is like a links history guy. Scott's got some good history and priced right. And then Fitzpatrick, it looks like more people land there, which makes Sepp Straka, Harry Hall, guys like that are just above and below and squeezed in between. They're pretty interesting for upside. You know what you're getting with them, and it can be very boom bust. But in these tournaments, and especially overseas where you can have some of this variance play out, I think those are going to be intriguing options when we get to building tournament lineups, especially in larger fields, I should say. Like in smaller fields, you might not have to take on full risk. You can just build differently. Aaron Rye, I don't know if he'll end up picking up steam or not. Can't be everyone, though. He's a guy I always like, especially when we go over here. I think he won it 2020. I think it's been here since 2019, 4th year last year. So maybe he picks up a little bit of steam. What about JJ Spawn, Harris English, Mav McNeely? Any of those guys for you?
McNeely's my favorite, and I'm typically a McNeely guy. Like, he's had some good finishes in tougher events. I mean, you look at the Memorial, he finished 5th. He has not played much. If this is updated on DraftKings, Memorial, U.S. Open, and then Travelers finished 17th. He's probably my favorite. Spawn I'd be good with. I would just probably prefer to play these guys in the lower 8s than the uppers. Just save the money and kind of move on. Harry Hall is an interesting one though for me because it seems like he's kind of turned his game around, and he does play in some of these weaker field events. Rocket Mortgage, RBC Canadian was pretty weak, but he's 25th or better in 5 straight events, 6 straight events. So I do have interest in him.
Tom Kim with 3 missed cuts in his last 5 events, a 33rd and a 44th coming in, but he's finished 3rd, 6th, and 15th here. So maybe that's
but he's like a different golfer this year, man. He's been really bad. He's showing nothing. He is showing nothing.
Very, very bad. Anybody else that you want to mention or bring up? If you guys have questions, you can throw them into the chat. We'll obviously cover those throughout. Somebody asked earlier about leaving money on the table. I don't know that you need to here. Obviously, you can leave $1,000, leave whatever, but I just don't see it. Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, you can always make the case. I mean, when you're leaving the 1,000 on the table, it's going from Mav McNeely down to, I don't know, or Smalley, Cauley, Gerard, somewhere in that range. Like, can those 7K guys outscore Mav McNeely? Yeah, sure. Like that could be it, but it's tough to like just actively go out and say I'm leaving this chunk. Like make it make sense if you're doing it.
Yeah, Gotterup is coming in with all these top 20s or whatever, or top 30s, I guess I should say, in the 20s. I see him getting a little love at 7,100.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys. I mean, a lot of 7K guys. People love playing Kevin Yu. He's been playing well. I mean, there's so many dude. Denny McCarthy. I mean, honestly, it's probably we kind of gotten rid of the bit, but that seems like a very disrespectful price on a guy like McCarthy, 7,200. I'd say he's definitely the leader in the clubhouse for most disrespectful price tag on the slate.
Yeah, I'm trying to see like who else would even coincide. Where is Sam Stevens at?
Yeah, man. I love Stevens. Stevens has been my boy. So he's 7,400.
What was he 9,300 last week?
Last week he was up there.
He was 83, sorry, because he was the $100 less than Pearson Coody. I remember this quite vividly, obviously, as many will know. But so Denny went from 9,900 down to 72 with what, an 11th place finish?
Yeah.
And again, it has nothing really to do with it. Just funny how the pricing works and the odds and all that. But Sam Stevens finished just outside the top 20, went from 83 to 74 and stayed higher than Denny McCarthy dropping down there. So again, totally different course, all these, et cetera, but you get what I'm saying. It's just looking at stuff like that is sometimes interesting just to see and get a feel for the ranges. But there's a lot of guys you could go to down here. Someone said, what is your thoughts on this? That, Jason, I'm not sure exactly which way he means it. Like if people are going to be,
I don't think they're necessarily going to be lazy. It's just like, don't know these guys all that well. And I'm not going to come on here and pretend to be an expert for the, world tour golfers. I'm not an expert. And a lot of these guys, I have no clue who the hell they are. So I think it's just I don't think it's necessarily lazy. It's just like, we don't know them. And a lot of times when these guys do step up and play PGA Tour type guys, they get their ass kicked. Like it might look good on the world tour, but then they step up and play a real field and they get absolutely destroyed. So it's hard. I don't think people are going to be well-versed on all these guys. There's no doubt about it. So if you do follow the DP World Tour and know these dudes, probably, maybe you have a little bit of a leg up this week. I don't know. It's tough. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on those dudes, though.
Yeah, I guess that's, same take as always for me is what comes down to is like, some people know a ton about the golfers. Some people know a ton about the golf course. Some people know a ton about, I don't know, they're the TMZ of the golf world and all the events that are going on behind the scenes on Instagram and all this. All I care about, and I think all you should care about, and why we make this show the way it is about the DFS side. The other stuff is good entertainment. Keep it in your diet. Check it out, learn about it, figure it out, do what you like, listen to what you like out there. But I don't care about any of that stuff. I just care how to win the most money possible in DFS tournaments. And everyone always thinks that's the answer, but there's a million ways I could swing it that it's actually not. The end result is the 6 golfers that show up on your lineup. But a lot of it, and people will tell you this, all of our guys over at the SHIPIT Nation Discord, is the process, putting the puzzle together, figuring out if this, then that. When you start to put that together, that's what landed you on those spots. And then those guys end up becoming the product of the result. So I definitely think they can contend. This guy will probably pick up steam, but like one example would be to Hoop's point, whether you know about them or don't, I definitely think you can do some research on these guys in the back end. A guy like Thomas Dietrich, who has been playing a bunch on the PGA Tour anyway and moved over. But I'm just saying, I care more about someone like him finishing 23rd at the U.S. Open, 18th at the RBC Canadian, a top 30 at a signature, which is the Trivett. Like it's not the worst results with big boy events, tough fields, tough courses, all that. them being plugged down at 7,800. We'll see, when other people go with other guys around him. I'm just saying that's an example where I'd feel more comfortable than the person. Like, I just gave a random example earlier, but the people that are like, oh, Alex Fitzpatrick, he's Matt Fitzpatrick's brother. He's technically done this. He could be good because of this. Like, when you're just trying to pick your spots that way and make a stand, then if it works for you, great. But you just need so many other things to go in your favor on top of getting that guy right. There's a ton of ways to get different, as we showed you throughout the show, where you don't even have to touch that stuff and add extra variables into your mix. Go ahead.
Yeah, nothing to really add. I mean, the people that follow the DP World Tour on a weekly basis are going to know these guys a little bit better, but that does not necessarily mean that the good dudes on the DP World Tour are going to do good this week. We've seen it time and time again where, again, they play the higher level of talent and they get their asses handed to them.
Yeah, and Jason's right. Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, certainly. No, I'm not disputing that. They definitely do. And again, if you follow the DP World Tour, you're going to know some of these guys a little bit more in the strengths and weaknesses of their games.
I definitely think you should be researching them and figure them out, know about them and that sort of stuff. But in some cases, it also ends up being like I mentioned earlier. You could have former DP World Tour players that moved over to the PGA Tour, but they know the lay of the land. They've played these courses more. That's sort of the style they grew up on, whatever it might be. All those things can work in their favor when the time comes down to it. I just always like to focus on the fact that, picking and choosing the guy. If you're doing that, I definitely like to pick some of the guys that you're comfortable with and take stands on them, because then at least you'll be in the position that if you are right on your pick, on your guy you want to roll with, at least you'll have shares and enough to be able to make it happen. Kenny's adding all the content in here today. He's extra dialed with 3 seats. Congrats again to Kenny getting all 3 of his seats through. He's used to playing one lineup, but he did quite a good job playing those 3. And now this week, a great chance to get to the live final. It says, feel like the higher the buy-in, the lower the ownership on the Euro guys, but maybe that's misguided. No, I think that's probably right for the most part. I mean, there's going to be so many other options that pop, unless, again, it's all how you classify it. Like Fleetwood and Bobby Mack are European descent, but they're not Euro players. They play on the PGA Tour. So really something to think about there. But he mentioned because of the uncertainty, and that's not what he was insinuating, just to note it. I mean, players like I mentioned with Dietrich and those guys, they're European players, but I don't classify them as like the DP World Tour guys, because clearly they're not. Those guys, to Kenny's point, that are DP World Tour guys will be extremely low owned because of the uncertainty. People won't be able to trust it for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Francois, good point too. Not really true links style golf, only 3 holes next to the sea. So, I mean, again, factor those things in when you're building. If other people are putting you to all links golfers and that's your stand because technically you're in on that, I think that would be where you could say, hey, I'm going to avoid some of that. And if I see so-and-so getting ownership just because he's really good on links courses, maybe, and looks, the wind is down this week that we saw for 3 days as of right now, all these other factors, maybe that's where you start making your decisions. But I think it's a good DFS slate. I definitely like it for many reasons that we talked about. And I think it's going to make for some interesting builds, regardless if you're playing MME or right down to single entry, one lineup, like a single lineup build into something with multiple entries. I think there's a ton of ways to get different, Hoop. And we touched on majority of it. Is there any final thoughts you have before we get out of here?
No, I mean, it's fun style golf, time change. We have some top end golfers. So I'm excited for this week and very excited for next week as well. So let's, everyone have a good week, get those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top of the leaderboard. Let's have a big week.
Yeah. Hit us up if you have any questions or want to know more. Go to SHIPITNation.com. You can use code PGA75. If you want to just check things out, $24 for the month gets you this week, the major next week. It gets you the 3M Open, whatever the event is after that. I can't remember now. And then also you get all of the other stuff as well, which you're going to get we got MMA coming back. We've got, what else do we got? Hoop? We got baseball. We got NASCAR.
NASCAR.
Yeah. So you'll
PGA
get everything.
Showdown, everything.
Check it all out, guys. We appreciate you. Thanks for watching. That's going to do it for this time, guys. For Hoop, for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.